I'm Matt Lively, and this show is called Habitat, and it's about my interpretations of people by way of houses. Mostly because I don't like painting people, so I have replacements for people in my paintings, and in this case it's houses. This painting is it's one of those paintings where I didn't know what I was going to do from the beginning, and it changed several times in the course of doing it. And I like it when I get to that point where I don't know what I'm going to do, because then the painting and I sort of collaborate. Like the painting tells me what to do and I kind of respond to it, and if it needs a flying pile of sheep, then that's what it needs, so that's what I put in. Started with clouds, and then there was a house there, and you can see remnants of one whole house, and I had the whole inside of the house painted, but then I painted it out and got rid of the house, and then I made 3 more houses, and then it called for sheep, so that's what I put in. It was in the winter and it was too cold to go to my studio, so I made these ink drawings, and my thoughts at the time were about Richmond, Virginia. I wanted to combine somehow I wanted to combine the Civil War with the art of Richmond. And I had a real plan about how I was going to do that visually, but then when I started painting and drawing, the images turned to, it went back before the Civil War, and what drew people to Richmond in the first place, and I got to thinking about beavers and how we came and got beaver pelts, and it was a beaver trade, so there was all these, I made all these dwellings for these beavers that and the river was really wild, like that needed the beavers. And I told you it was going to be weird, but that's what I was thinking of, and somehow these images came out of those thoughts. When I go and pick plywoods that have the wood grain that I want, and I have the guys at the plywood place that I go to pull off pieces, and it's kind of like selecting meat, like I'm a chef, and they pull off the pieces, and that one's no good, that one's no good, that one! And I pick that one, and then because it appeals to me some way, maybe it's a repetition of the grain or something like that. And then if I like it, I'll use it and then save it, preserve it for the rest of the image, because it's already inherently pretty the way that wood grain looks, and there's no reason to mess it up. And well, I wanted to become an artist when I was really young, 7 years old, when I saw Star Wars in the theater, and I wanted to know how they did that, how they made that world. I knew that it wasn't real, but it was real because somebody made those little things. So I started making little things and wanted to do that, and I thought it was a viable career, either be a fireman, a policeman, a barber, or an artist. And I just thought, well, I like doing art, so I'll just do that. And I really never changed my mind, and my parents didn't allow me to waver from that. They encouraged me, and I went to art school at VCU, and the day I got out of there, graduated, I started selling work, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's been really great, and I don't take it for granted. I love every minute of it. This is the first one I've had at Virginia Beach. The MOCA has been great. I've been to shows at the MOCA before. Some of literally my favorite artists have shown there, and when they called me and asked me to show some stuff, I was very excited because of some of my art heroes had been there before, so I was really glad to have the opportunity, and they've been fun to work with. And there was a curator, and I rarely get a chance to work with curators, and they look at my work and then assess it differently than I would even, and then they decide how it ought to be placed. And it's cool having someone else kind of take control, and when I see the show, I see it the way that someone else might see it, because a lot of times it's just laying around in my studio and I'm used to it, and I'll step over them and stuff, but then when I see it like this, it's like seeing it with fresh eyes, and it's exciting for me.
I was telling Mr. Fine, we had come in the building earlier in the week when they were installing everything, and amazing stuff. Actually had a physical reaction to some of the pieces. It's pretty amazing artwork for sure.
This is not the kind of art that I normally view, but it's definitely cool. It definitely adds a new perspective to things, man.
I really enjoy the work. I love that he is exploring homes, in addition to the vesicles that he's been doing. So I'm very, very impressed.